Welcome back, 307 on a Wednesday afternoon, and we are joined in studio by Charles Milliard. Charles, welcome back.
Hello, Aaron. It's good to see you.
Yeah, we saw each other, of course, when you were running the first time around for leader of the provincial Liberal
Party. The infamous first race.
Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't know that you say congratulations, but you do say, okay, you're the first man in officially in the race to become leader, the next leader of the Provincial Liberal Party. A couple of questions that have come up, and I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll try to get as much as I can in here. First of all, you know, when I was talking to an analyst yesterday during the show, I said, is this going to be an actual race or is this going to be a coronation? You're the only one who's officially announced. Are you expecting others? Is the party expecting others to announce or not?
We'll see what happens, but you know, Aaron, we don't choose our opponents. We fight them. So we'll see what happens. I wanted to make sure that people know that I want the job. I've been thinking about it very thoroughly during the holiday seasons. I'm someone that likes to think about things. I know the party had a rough December, last December, obviously. But you know what? I'm more convinced than at any point in the first race that we need a new political offer in Quebec, and I think the Liberal Party has a huge role to play in that. And the renewal that I was talking to you about a year ago is more than ever needed. So here I am.
So a lot of people will look at you and go, don't really know a lot about Charles Milliard. I knew Pablo was a former federal politician, etc., which should have worked in his favor. As things worked out, it did not. What do people need to know about you, about who you are? Because one of the things people cite is the fact because you don't have a political background, that's actually a positive thing going forward, is it?
I think it's positive, and you cannot expect someone to represent renewal and if I had been an M&A for 20 years. That being said, I come with a very interesting professional experience. I'm 46 years old. I come from Lévis, across the river from Quebec City, obviously. I'm a pharmacist, so I did pharmacy degree, MBA. I worked for 14 years for Uniprix, chain of pharmacies, well known in Quebec. I used to manage the Federation of Chambers of Commerce of Quebec. I quit that job to run for the leadership campaign in 2024, 2025. I came out second with 48% of the votes. And then I got hired by beautiful Bishop's University for the last fall semester where I taught entrepreneurship, product development, strategy, innovation at the William Business School. It has been a true honor and privilege to do that over the past month. And then the things that we all know happen in December, I gave it a little thought, and I'm running again. But that time, you know what? The results will be different.
Wow, you certainly haven't done much for a 46-year-old, huh?
Well, it's an interesting journey, and I'm actually very proud of my career. I think this is something we can say. As you know, I come from a francophone background. Obviously, I learned English through school. I used to be a touristic guide in Ottawa at the Parliament, actually, back in 2000, and then I taught at Bishop's University. So I'm proud of that. But I'm ready for that challenge.
So look, one of the issues, and you brought it up, and obviously it's going to be one of the things that comes up during the campaign. Once Pablo was selected as the leader, you had run against him, you didn't win. Did you think at that point, looking back now, that you were done? Were you ready? You were supporting him, obviously. He's still a liberal, you know, in the provincial government. What went through your mind?
Well, I'm a man that is loyal. So I've been a member of the Liberal Party of Quebec since 1998, more or less. So the week after I lost the leadership, I was in Victoriaville for the by-election with Pablo doing interviews. So honestly, I did that. So I think members saw that. They saw me as a true, homme de parti, as we say in French. But I never thought I would be here with you.
People will look at that and say, well, you were there with Pablo. Look at Pablo. Look what happened to him. Can I trust you?
No, I don't think so. I think that people believe that I am a true liberal, provincial liberal. And I'm true to myself. I know what I'm going to be proposing to Quebecers and members first and then Quebecers, but I'll let them decide afterwards.
I would ask you, and I know you haven't officially launched, what you think the biggest hurdles are when you talk about what it is you are proposing. What needs to, or what do you think you can change or bring to the table that has not been brought up until now?
Probably, Aaron, just talking about bread and butter issues and challenges that actually matter to Quebecers will be a huge change from what we see right now. So a little bit less about immigration, identity, and sovereignty, and more about healthcare, education, culture, agriculture, mining, forestry, transportation. Those are the issues that Quebecers want to hear about. When I'm going to a party in my family or at the grocery stores, and they don't talk to me about the sovereignty of Quebec. They talk to me about the cost of living, about healthcare, and so on and so forth. So in 2025, we've been talking way too much about, the dangerous Canada, the dangerous unions, the dangerous doctors. We need more kindness in the political field in Quebec. I know politics is not, social dancing, but I think more kindness will be interesting and more positivism, and that's what I want to bring.
Typically you would run against the party in power. We have an idea, perhaps Francois Legault may be here, may not be here as leader. It does not look like the CAQ, though, will be your main concern. The Parti Québécois, certainly according to recent polls, they stand to win this next election. I know October's a long way away. You brought up sovereignty, and it seems that Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon is committed, right, one way or the other, despite the fact the polls show people, even if you would vote PQ, you do not want sovereignty. He does not seem to think that's a problem. What do you do to counter that?
Well, first, let me say that I actually respect the PQ position. They're clear about that. They want to do a referendum. They want to do the separation of Quebec. That's clear. I think the PQ project is clearer than the CAQ project, which I don't know what the CAQ project is, to be honest. I think it goes with the flow, but the flow is running out of water right now. That being said, I'm a member of the Liberal Party of Quebec. I am a nationalist, I am a regionalist, and I am also a federalist. And what? I want to succeed to great, former premiers and leaders like Robert Bourassa. Robert Bourassa used to lead a Liberal Party that was truly, deeply rooted in the regions of Quebec, deeply rooted in Montreal. It wasn't always easy with Robert Bourassa and his caucus back in the days, but he was everywhere in Quebec. And he has that, useful, tension with Ottawa. And out of tension, we can create opportunity. But the difference between the CAQ and the PLQ that I want to lead is that I want Canada to work. That doesn't mean we're not going to have any negotiation and arguments. But in the end, in a negotiation, when you want this to work, it changes the flow of discussion. And so the only true party that really wants Canada to work with a strong Quebec, that's us, and that's the party I want to lead.
What do you do about Bills 96 and 21?
Well, I've been talking about that to you in interviews we did together. I think that I'm obviously in favor of protecting French. I think French is a precious gem in Quebec. I am for the the secularity of Quebec, but I don't agree with the definition of protection of French and secularity that the CAQ is proposing. So we're going to have to change definitions in the coming months. As I said, I am a nationalist, so I believe in a strong Quebec. I believe in the power of the French language, but we don't have to do that at the expense of the English-speaking communities and of all the different cultural communities or immigrants. I am tired of that divisive discussion over immigration. This is the end of that chapter, hopefully, in the next coming months.
I was going to ask you just brought it up, this idea, and it's been said before, that, with the guise of protecting the French language, which is something the Premier often brings up and other ministers bring up as well, it's kind of become a zero-sum game, right? It's protect the French language, but punish the English language for some reason by taking something away. And you're suggesting you don't believe in that approach. Mm-hmm. What would change?
Well, the main problem with there's a lot of good things in Bill 96. One of the problems is the red tape. This is not true to say that Bill 96 is actually increasing, the protection of French, especially for SMEs. It's a lot of red tapes that are not helping anyone in Quebec.
Small and medium-sized businesses.
Right. Okay. Small and medium enterprises. And we can say that and still want to protect French. So this is a thin line. But again, I'm from this, Francophone community in Quebec, and I'm going to be explaining that in French, English, maybe in other languages I don't speak any other languages, but anyway, I'll do my best to explain that. And you know what? When I talk about that with my family, they actually agree with me. The problem is that the CAQ has succeeded in telling people if you are against Bill 96, you are against French.
Right.
That's enough. This is not true, people. This is not true. So help is on the way.
Couple of things really quickly to go back to Pablo Rodriguez, that whole fiasco that lasted far too long. One of the people mentioned at the outset was Marwa Risky,
Yes.
who we've not heard from publicly at all. Have you had a chance to speak to her? Will you be speaking to her?
Well, I will be talking to her if she wants to talk to me. I've been talking to most of the caucus in the past few days. This is a tricky situation. Mrs. Risky is obviously an amazing, parliamentarian, an excellent communicator, but I'm not close to her precisely. So I will be talking to her if she wants to. But you know what? We'll see what happens when we have all the informations and the datas about the actual legal
But
stuff.
what if that goes on for months, and that's something you're going to have to contend with, right?
Yeah,
This
well,
investigation, it's not going to be over tomorrow or next week.
I'm well aware of that, and politics is all about loyalty and accountability. So if I run this party, I will be accountable for what happens, but I cannot be accountable for something that happened when I was not a leader. But I will take my responsibilities if I'm the leader. I am very lucid about it. But I think the main issue here is that the Parti libéral du Québec needs to work together again. All of us, we need to restart working together. We need a better team spirit, and we need to welcome more people into the caucus, into our team. I'm not judging the past, but I'm hopeful about the future.
Is part of what you have to do, or do you think you have to do, distance yourself from the people who are close to Pablo, who are now implicated in this thing, or not?
Well, I don't want to distance myself to anybody precisely. I want to propose something new. I was asking members last year to turn the page. The page still needs to be turned, obviously. So we'll do it. We'll do it respectfully, and we'll do it based on science, based on the decisions of all the legal proceedings. But you know what? Based on all the enthusiasm that I've heard in the past few weeks, and especially since yesterday, this is telling something is happening, and I think our opponents should take note of it.
I will end it there. I know you have other commitments. By the way, I should mention this is your first English interview, right?
It is. So
thank you for coming here on CJD. We very much appreciate that.
I'll be back if you want.
I hope we will have a chance to speak again. I wish you good luck. And you know what? We're in an election year. There's going to be a lot of work to be done. So good on you, and all the best. Charles, thank you so much for coming in.
Pretty interesting. Thank you, Aaron.
You bet.
The biggest songs in the world. You've heard them countless times. Now, learn the details of how they came to be. Join Ruby Carr for Encore, the stories behind the songs you love. New interviews and newly unearthed archive footage make for a fascinating weekly deep dive. Stream Encore, the stories behind the songs you love on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.